My name is Daniel Scott with UDAYA.com, and this is Average Yoga, a series of tutorials specifically designed for people who don't do yoga yet. Take what you want, leave what you don't, go at your own pace, and learn to build your practice from the ground up. Sun Salutation B. Just a continuation of the first one, Surya Namaskar A, plus a little bit of warrior and or lunge, depending on how your hips and body respond to these movements. So just like the first video for Surya Namaskar A, Sun Salutation A, we're going to go super slow, and we're going to make whatever modifications that we need to make in our bodies so we can have a good time as opposed to trying to catch up and feel terrible in our bodies. This is also a great way to start your day or end it, considering or depending on what your schedules are like. So with no further ado, you're going to want to start at the front of your mat, wherever your mat is. And here's the thing. You don't even need to really have a mat to do this. As long as you're comfortable with the practice of the ground that you're practicing on, anything becomes a yoga mat. Instead of having your toes touch, have your feet parallel for today. Hip distance apart, shoulders over hips, over heels, let the arms hang. And remember, moving with the breath as opposed to against the breath is going to make your movements a lot more smoother and easier. So don't rush. If you don't have to keep up with me, if anything, you can just sort of keep my voice in the back of your head, if that's what you want, as you practice, so you remember the things that you need to do as opposed to things that you have to do in order to keep up. Okay? Shoulders, hips, heels, keeping a nice line. On inhale, raise the arms up high, and the hands don't have to touch. In fact, keep the arms parallel or even wider than the shoulders for more space. Navel stays lifted as you breath in. Exhale, you can bend the knees to begin your fold forward. By midway on the exhale, you can start extending as the head lowers, the shoulders lower toward the ground. Take your hands to your shins or your thighs. Inhale, find a flat spine. Keep the knees slightly bent so you can really keep the back of the legs happy. Exhale, bend the knees until the hands touch the ground. Step a right foot or a left foot back, whichever foot works for you. And take a few moments in that lunge to appreciate that space that you're giving yourself. Step the other foot back to meet it. And from here in this plank, you can do whatever you want in your vinyasa. You can drop your knees, lower your chest and your chin. Inhale, lower the hips, untuck the toes, shoulders down the spine to raise the chest forward, eyes forward. And pause here for a moment. Now look, if you see how high I am, that's great. I practice yoga a bunch. You might only be here in this low cobra-like situation. Your hands are on the ground, your chest is barely up, your heart is looking forward. But if you don't want to lift from the neck, just lift the shoulders a bit. Inhale, exhale, tuck the toes, take the hips back to the heels, press into the hands, press into the feet. Stay in this child's pose for a moment or take it to downward facing dog. Now, from downward facing dog, you're going to have to pick one leg to work with. For now, we'll start the right foot stepping forward. As you step that foot forward, if you can't get it all the way, take that hand, help it forward. Keep the back heel up, and for the sake of conversation on this first round, just take a moment and hang out in this lunge to set your feet. Spread your toes, extend the back leg. As you inhale, press into the front foot, ground down through the back, lift the shoulders over the hips. Take another breath or two in this part of the sequence. Let the arms hang. Breath in, raise the hands up high as you'd like. Maybe even keep the arms wider than the shoulders. Big breath in here. Exhale, slowly lower the hands. Slowly lean forward towards that front foot. Take the hands back to the ground to frame the front foot. And if you want to drop that back knee, totally acceptable. Step the front foot towards the back. Step the knees together and then lower right into knees, chest, chin from here. Lower the hips, untuck the toes. Raise the chest. You can gaze forward with the eyes, or you can try to lift the heart and just simply gaze forward from the heart. If it feels nice in your back, you can press into the hands and lift a bit higher. Press into the feet to support that. And then as you like, tuck the toes, drop the hands, bend the knees, raise the butt up, slide the hips back towards the heels, towards a child's pose, and then raise the hips again, downward facing, whatever you want to call this. Now, if you're having trouble stepping the foot forward all the way to the front of the mat, what you can do is step the feet closer to begin with, bend the knees, and then try to step from there. That left foot forward, you can set up the weight, extend that back leg so you can set up for your low lunge, press into the front foot, lift the shoulders over the hips. Back heel stays lifted. Raise the hands as you like into your high lunge. Now, normally, Warrior 1 would be what you do here, But for now, don't have to do anything with that back heel other than enjoy the fact that you have a nice lifted position in your chest. Now, if you want to open the chest and start opening through the heart in order to take into a back bend, that's totally up to you. On your exhale, lower the hands, place them down, drop that back knee, and then take the front knee to meet it. Slowly, gently, easily, you can lower the chest and chin. Lower the hips, shoulders down the spine, raise the heart, raise the eyes. Low cobra, upward facing. It's completely up to you. No rush, no extra. Take the hips back towards the heels. Through that child's pose, or hang out in a child's pose if you're tired of downward facing dog until you're ready to raise those hips. And then hang out in downward facing. Now, your general rule of thumb here would be to take 5 breaths, 3 breaths, just a certain amount of breaths so you can soften into the downward facing dog. Just breathe until it's time to move on. What's really nice is if you're in downward facing dog and you have to adjust because you've moved to the back of your mat or you've moved to the front of your mat, you can sort of walk the dog wherever you need it to be. From dog, take your feet slightly more narrow than the hips, your hands slightly wider than the shoulders. You can bend the knees if you need to, just to keep the legs happy. Big breath in, big breath out. And as you like, you can begin to look forward, step the feet, hop the feet if you're feeling saucy, until you get to the front of your mat. Inhale, find a flat spine, and to do that, it really helps take the hands to the shins. Bend the knees a good amount so you can feel more space in the back. Exhale, fold as you extend the legs. And then as you bend the knees, the tailbone drops. You're going to start sitting down into that chair pose. Now, instead of just throwing the shoulders up, just drop the hips halfway. Let the chest stay parallel to the ground until you feel grounded into your legs. Take your hands to your knees. Navel draws in. Start pointing your tailbone towards your heels, hug the elbows in, and sit back into the imaginary chair that you really wish was there. Once you feel grounded in your feet, then the hands can reach forward. The hands can start to reach up. The gaze can stay with the thumbs or with the hands, but try not to drop back into the neck. Just stay easy on this one. Breath in, exhale, stand into your feet, hands come back to the heart. Don't worry about having a beautiful flow here. The most important thing is that you flow easily from pose to pose at your own body's capabilities. So if you don't think you can make the step to the front of the mat, if you don't think you can make this, with the next movement in one breath, take 2 breaths, take 3 breaths. Just make sure that you breathe and that you go at a pace that feels right and smooth in your body. So let's make this a bit more challenging for people who want to up it because they have more flexibility in space. Again, not anything else than going at your own pace. Shoulders, hips, heels, standing at the front of the mat. Inhale, raise the arms up high. Exhale, bend the knees so you sit back into that chair. Take a moment or two here to really spread the toes, ground into the heels. Feel the thighs active around the thigh bones. Breath in here. Exhale, keeping the knees bent, arms out to the side. Lower the heart towards the thighs. And then at the end of the exhale, the hips raise, the legs extend. As the hands go down low, the head drops. Inhale, you can find that flat spine. You can have the hands on the thighs. Breath in here. And then exhale, let's try this one. Bend the knees, hands can touch the ground. Step 1 foot back. Hang out in that lunge. Interlace the fingers on the thigh and just take a moment to set this lunge up so you can feel the spine long. Breath in. Exhale, drop the back knee, take the hands down, step the front knee to the back knee, and you can either go knees, chest, and chin or extend the legs and start your vinyasa, Chaturanga. You can lower the hips, gaze forward with the eyes, shoulders down the spine, hug the elbows in. This one right here, if you're very tight in the back, it can be terrible. So lower the heart if you need to. Just feel good in this. You want to be able to breathe at least one time so you feel that you're not holding on to any energy. And then on your exhale, tuck the toes, press into the hands, knees, and feet. Go to child's pose or downward facing dog. Step the left foot slightly forward, just maybe one or two footprints from the right foot, and then try to step the right foot forward from there. Turn that left heel inward, ground down through the right foot, take the hands to the knees. Now you're in a modified warrior 1. So that back heel is dropped this time. The outside edge of the foot is grounded. And then from here, pressing into the front foot to access the back, raise the shoulders over the hips. Inhale, raise the hands over the shoulders. Hips are squared off to the short end of the front of the mat. Breath in here. Exhale, lower the heart back to the thigh. Take the hands, frame that front foot. Lift the back heel, drop the palms. You can try to float that front foot to the back, or you can do knees, chest, and chin. I'm going to do it. You can join me. Go at the vinyasa that feels right for you. Drop the hips when you want. Don't lift from the neck. In fact, let the neck be the last thing to lift. Lift from the heart. On your next exhale, go back towards that child's pose. Take your time. No rush. No extra. Hands strong on the ground. You can lift the hips when you want. Now we stepped the right foot forward before, but in order to do that, we did it with the left. So this time we're going to do that the opposite way. Step the right foot forward just 1 or 2 inches, and then from there, that gives you more space to step the left foot. Turn the toes out, bend that front left knee, interlace the fingers onto that top of the knee, raise the chest, and try to find a long line from your shoulders to your hips to your back heel. Try to find a long line from your front knee over your front heel. Grounding down through the back foot, grounding down through the front heel. Step into the toes to raise the shoulders over the hips. Modified warrior 1. Until you feel ready, inhale, raise the hands. And then exhale, arms out to the side. Heart's going to lower towards the knees. Maybe the hands come back to the knee or down to the ground. And then when you want, step that front foot somehow to the back of the mat. Maybe it's into plank, maybe it's knees, chest, and chin. At this point, you know your body better than anyone else. So make a point to move like you know what's going on, at least in your own physical capability. As you go through this vinyasa, it's not about rushing, it's about breathing and moving with that breath. You can stay in the child's pose if you get tired, or you can meet in that downward facing dog. And use this dog as a moment of stillness within the movement to bring the awareness back to the breath, but back into the body if you've already started to think elsewhere outside of the mat. Bend the knees a good amount so the heels float. If you bend the knees a lot, they come towards the ribs. It gives you more space and length in the shoulders and the back. Don't tuck the chin, don't lift the chin. Let the head hang so the ears are in line with the arms as best as possible. If your shoulders are super tight, you can actually lift the chest, not the neck, but lift the chest so the eyes look more towards the thumbs. Take a few breaths here. Enjoy this moment. Inhaling, exhaling at your own accord. Now, however you're going to get the feet from the back of the mat to the front of the mat is up to you. A lot of times there's that hopping situation. If you want to bend the knees, drop the tailbone towards the heels, and then give a little spring to your step. If you go halfway, that's great. You can keep walking from there. Inhale, hands to the thighs, lengthen the spine. Breath in, flat back. Exhale, fold. Now, before you sit down into your chair pose, think, okay, that's where I got to go next. So set your foundation, spread the toes. Take the hands to the knees, bend the knees so the knees go in line with the hips. Take a breath in here. You can press the hands into the thighs to raise the chest. And then you can take the hands away from the thighs forward. Navel's going to draw in so the tailbone grounds down and puts weight towards the back of the feet into your heels. Raise the arms as you like. Breath in, breath out. And then use your next breath cycle to stand into the feet, hands together in front of the heart or whatever hand situation feels right for you. You can let the eyes close. You can let the shoulders melt down the spine. And you can wash, rinse, and repeat this as many times as you want. So from here, this Sun Salutation B, it's a great way to start the day. It's a great way to do a whole yoga practice in about 10 minutes. If you don't have any more time than that, it's a great way to get everything you need without having to do too much to get it. So try this one at home. If you have any questions, pretty easy guy to find. Feel free to reach out and see how this works for you. So how'd all that land for you? Hopefully it sparked a fire. And if you're looking to fan the flame, head over to UDAYA.com and enter the promo code AVERAGE JOGA, Joga. You're going to have access to a lot more classes from myself and a host of amazing teachers from around the world of all shapes, styles, and colors. By all means, let this serve as a great foundation to build a home practice on that you can have for the rest of your life. Enjoy, enjoy.